Balarama was talking about the experience that he had with his kids at Yosemite, and a lot of the teachers have talked about outings and taking their children on trips and all. And of course those are all fun and enriching, but in this topic that we're dealing with today, also just those times to get children out of their normal environment and into a new situation that naturally draws forth from them sides of themselves that might not be so readily apparent in their day-to-day life. So that beautiful experience that he shared in being in Yosemite and all the various experiences the teachers have talked about, it made me think back years ago. I had a 5th grade class, and it was a very, very restless class, and kids that were not so drawn to being quiet and more inward. And I was always looking for chances for them to just feel that side of themselves, just to know it's there and experience it a little bit. Well, there was a man in the community who was a spelunker, and so he took us caving, and I'd never been caving before, and that was quite the experience in itself, because we had to go through a long 40-foot crawl tunnel to get into any of the big rooms. And when we finally, one of the biggest rooms we were in, he had us all sit down and turn off our flashlights, and certainly for myself, I had never ever been in that level of darkness, that level of quiet, where, you know, he'd say, now put your hand in front of your face, and you absolutely could not see even shadow. And there was absolutely no sound. They were trying to breathe quietly, and that far underground with granite all around, it was totally amazing how still it was. And so finally, after we sat for a few minutes just feeling what that level of quiet was, he had us turn on our flashlights and walk out. And I had 2 little boys come up to me, and just this look of awe on their face, and they just, oh my gosh, it just makes you want to meditate. And you could feel that inside of them, it was like they had never had that feeling before. Whether they continued on, that wasn't the goal, but that they had had that chance that I had, with all my trying, I had never orchestrated anything, and that was one of those experiences in a new place, in a new setting, where it just, you know, bubbled forth from them. So those extra trips and times to get out of their normal environment can be really helpful.
My reading, and I work with the high school, and I also go into many of the classrooms and teach Spanish class. And I guess I want to talk about what I see. What I see when I walk into a classroom is I see a safe environment. I see a place where kids are relaxed, and most classrooms have lots of color and couches, and I just see the kids feeling at home. And so just a safe place for kids to be themselves. And then what I see is in high school, they create an environment between each other. They learn how to work with each other. They know that if they're in a mood, they can take a walk. It's a safe place to be. And they'll take a walk. They know how to work with themselves. And when we go on trips, they take their environment. So they've sort of internalized this feeling of being able to speak with adults, being able to work with each other, and just feeling at home. So I just see a group of people, the teenagers, just internalizing as they get older and just taking this wherever they go.
My name is Hridaya. I work with the junior high and high school. I want to talk about the importance of animals, having animals in the classroom, and what that does with your children, not only younger kids, but also older kids. It's a really heart-opening experience, and I've had a number of experiences with it. I happen to love animals myself. So one time in my class of junior high school girls, we adopted 4 lambs who they almost died, and we had to sort of bring them back to life. And it really taught the girls to be, besides being heart-opening, it taught the girls how to be responsible, because we had to bottle feed them every 4 hours at the start, at the beginning. So they had to get up sometimes in the middle of the night and come up to school with their mom or dad and the flashlight and feed the babies. And I just saw from that point on that there was a shift in how they were responsible with other things too. So, and I also take my students on a service project to the animal shelter in town. We go once a week. And it surprises me sometimes the girls who are interested, because I have one very tiny girl who she doesn't look that strong, and if you don't know her, you don't know about her strength, but she said, oh, I want to go to the animal shelter. And the first day we were there, she got a big dog, and the big dog yanked and pulled her, but she just yanked back on that dog. And no, I just saw her power. And I saw how, by working with animals, that not only does it open the heart, it teaches responsibility, but it also gets your willpower going. And one last story to tell. This was with younger children, and a number of years ago we had a thing called the Sadhana Club. And each of the teachers sort of shifted around and took different groups of kids, and we meditated or did yoga postures or did something with them, a centering activity. And I happened to have this group of very, very kinesthetic younger kids, very kinesthetic. And I could barely do yoga postures with them without a lot of kind of chaos. So it happened that there were these, we were hatching, one of the classroom teachers was hatching pheasant eggs in an incubator, and they all hatched out, and beep, 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 these adorable little pheasants. And I came in one day, and I looked at the pheasants, and I held one, and it just went to sleep in my hand because of the warmth. And so I thought, oh, I have an idea. So we each got a pheasant, and I said, we want to help these pheasants to calm down, and so that means that we probably have to calm down first, right? And they said yes, because it was the most important thing to them that they had this little pheasant, fluffy little ball in their hand. And so I said, okay, now let's get as quiet as we can. And they got their pheasants, and I said, close your eyes. They closed their eyes. Now put your hands around your pheasant very gently, and the pheasants went to sleep. I already knew that would happen. And they said, wow, the pheasant got calm. And so then I said, okay, let's just close our eyes. Let's get calm with the pheasant. And they all did it. And it could have been the first experience of stillness, you know, for some of those kids. So there's so many different levels working when you work with animals, with children, that really open them in so many ways that will surprise you.
Have a whole variety of experiences where the physical plane becomes the cornerstone of developing something more. The whole idea of inner stillness, so much easier to experience the first time when you're in that place of beauty and nature. Courage, just climbing through that tunnel that Ronnie was talking about, it's a big challenge for most people. But by proving to themselves that they can do that, to climb a mountain or a tree or all the different things that can happen, you learn those higher qualities in a very tangible form. Kindness, sharing objects, sharing toys with each other is a wonderful way to start to learn how to share vibrations and share kindness in a more abstract type of way. So the physical plane gives us an enormous number of opportunities that where we start with our sharing of education for life with the children. Thanks.